You have likely heard the phrase flatten the curve used when talking about reducing the number of coronavirus cases. But what does that mean exactly, and how can we do it? For more on that, we'd like to bring in infectious disease expert and former federal virus hunter, Dr. Dennis Carroll, who joins us now live from Washington, D.C. Dr. Carroll, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So can you remind us of exactly what that means, flattening the curve, and why is that the most important thing for people to be thinking about right now?
Well, I think we've seen actions taken in California, Illinois, and New York that are indicative of the speed with which this virus is spreading across America. That if we let it continue to infect at the direction it is now, using the limited interventions we have now, within 3 to 4 weeks, our health system is going to completely collapse. It'll be overwhelmed by the number of people seeking urgent care. Flattening the curve is basically what can we do to really profoundly impact on the number of people that are being exposed and infected. And if we don't really take the kind of actions that are being now undertaken in California and elsewhere, that we are in a really an historic position of facing a health crisis that we've never faced before. So flattening the curve is basically how can we reduce the number of people exposed today so that 3 weeks from now, the numbers of people showing up at the health facility are far fewer than those that were showing up the day before.
Now, when we look at that chart, it shows the flattening of the curve also means that the virus lasts longer, but I imagine there's no concern about prolonging the outbreak.
Well, the biggest concern is that if we, in fact, force our health system into a critical state, we're not only not going to be able to provide critical treatment for this particular virus, but the health system itself is going to be challenged to provide normative services for critical needs of people other than the virus. If we're able to flatten the curve and slow the number of people who are becoming infected, then the health system is better positioned to be able to provide services not just for this virus, but for critical other health needs.
Understood. Now, which countries have most effectively flattened the curve of their outbreaks, and how do they go about doing that?
Well, clearly we've seen South Korea demonstrate through a robust community effort that they can break the spread of the virus and dramatically reduce the numbers of people that are exposed and infected. So we need to look at the South Koreas to really ask ourselves, what can we do here to achieve the same outcome? And I think what we're seeing, and for instance, in California, is an example of the extraordinary measures that are going to be needed if we're going to really reduce the numbers of people who are infected over the next 3 weeks. Otherwise, we're going to look at an awful lot like what's going on in Italy today.
Do you have a sense of what South Korea was able to do so effectively?
Well, first off, they had an extremely effective and widely distributed diagnostic capability, something that we have failed to do until just recently. And they were able to use that information to be able to target and mobilize high-risk communities and high-risk groups to be able to lower exposures and isolate and contain the movement of that virus. So we're greatly handicapped because of the loss of opportunity to use diagnostics to be able to tell us where the virus is, who's infected. So we're really in a much more vulnerable state by the failure of being able to provide those critical early interventions.
All right, Dr. Carroll, thank you so much and appreciate your time.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.